Hey everybody, it's Brother Jeremy. I'm here in the great state of Arkansas, finishing up a tent revival, tent crusade tonight, and I've had a lot of questions. People ask me my opinion on what's going over in the nation of Israel, between Hamas. You've got the Palestinians, the nation of Israel. Everybody's bombing everybody and all of this kind of thing. This thing goes all the way back to Genesis chapter number 12. In Genesis chapter number 12, you'll read God called Abraham out of the Ur of the Chaldees, and he said, I'm going to give you a land. And that land he promised to Abraham and his seed. He also told Abraham, I'm going to give you a promised seed. You and Sarah is going to have a child that's going to bring on the promised seed later on in the future. If you'll continue reading Genesis chapter number 12, you'll read all of this. And if I can get it on here, I will show you what God promised the nation of Israel, the land grant that God has promised the nation of Israel. And then, as you well know, Sarah being 90 years old and Abraham on up in years, they devise a plan that says, hey, we need to help God out because Lord knows I can't have a child at 90 years old. So Sarah tells Abraham to go into their handmaid, for all practical purposes, the lady that washes the dishes, and have a child with her. And let's help God out, because he don't know what he's doing. And so Abraham agreed to that. So Abraham goes in unto Hagar, and they have a boy named Ishmael. I think it's in Genesis chapter number 15 where Ishmael is born. I think I'm right on that. And but that wasn't God's plan. God said, I'm going to give you a promise that you and Sarah will have a child. Well, Abraham didn't wait on that, so he goes into Hagar. They have a boy named Ishmael. Then later on, obviously, they have a boy named Isaac. Abraham and Sarah have a boy named Isaac. So you have Ishmael, his dad is Abraham. He has a different mom. Isaac, the promised seed, his dad is Abraham, and his mother is Sarah. So what you have in the Middle East going on right now is two half-brothers. They have the same dad, different moms. All Hamas, the Palestinians, all of those are descendants from Ishmael. And then you have the Jewish nation, the nation of Israel. The 12 tribes came from Isaac. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That was the promised seed line that the Messiah was to come from. And so this is what is going on. They're fighting over property. They're fighting over land. The Palestinians, the Hamas, and the Arabs, and all of that say, hey, Abraham was our daddy. God, this is our land. God gave it to Abraham to give to us, this, that, and the other. Well, that wasn't the promised seed. It belonged to Isaac and his seed, and so on and so forth. You say, can you prove that? Yes. Genesis chapter number 22. In Genesis chapter number 22, God tells Abraham, take thy son, thy only son, Isaac. Ishmael was born in chapter 15. God doesn't recognize Ishmael or his seed. He recognizes the nation of Isaac, the nation of Israel. So that's what's going on right now. And that's what they're fighting over. You'd be amazed at the land that Hamas, the Palestinians, and all of those have. And Israel, right now, just has a little bitty piece of property over there when God gave them all of that land. So that's what's going on. You got two half-brothers. There's a lot of lessons you can learn from that. Me as well. Hey, don't get ahead of God. Wait on him. If he says wait, he's got a plan, he's got a purpose. Don't try to help him out and jump ahead of him. We're reaping the benefits. We're paying the cost now for what Abraham and the decisions that him and Sarah made way back in Genesis chapter number 12. So hope that helps. Hope that clears it up. That's what's going on. And at the second coming of Christ, the 1,000-year millennial reign of Christ, Israel will get that land that God promised Abraham in Genesis chapter 12. They'll get all of it. They're fighting over it right now, but when the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords shows up, that's the only time we'll have peace in the Middle East, is when the Prince of Peace shows up.